Inmates, how's life behind bars? Not these bars, but these bars. Instead of bars, I'm behind pods, and I'm behind these pods right here. This video is about the D7 Pro versus the Lone Rider Moto Light. Let's start talking about them. If you've been following the channel and seeing recent videos that I've done, I have been desperately trying to become a dealer for Lone Rider. Literally in the last 7 or 8 days, the most senior person at Lone Rider agreed that he would make us a dealer. But 7 days later, after we've invested quite heavily in marketing and thumbnails, like I've actually had a completely different thumbnail for this video. Take a look at it, I'll show you it now. We went ahead and we took it on board that we were a dealer, but they turned around and they decided not to make us part of their installer network. But hopefully that will change early next year, fingers crossed. We want to be a dealer for the product. The light pod's fantastic, and I'm going to show you the light pod because we've gone ahead and done all the filming since they told us that we could be a dealer. So hopefully next year they'll have a different attitude towards having us as a dealer. I don't know if it's because we went in with a very big order. I don't order small. I'm in the business of selling things that are in stock. So I like to stock high, so we're always in a position that we've got stock inventory here to ship to our customers who are buying from us. Although we are not permitted to buy them at trade and sell them to you at retail, I have another solution, but you've got to stay tuned to the end of the video to find out what that solution is. There's a lot to talk about in this video. It's not a straightforward comparison between the Denali D7 Pro versus the Lone Rider Moto Light. There's a little bit to take on board, and I know that I've been guilty for being a bit of a waffler. I'm sorry, but I have got to get this all out because if you don't have all the information, well then you haven't got all the information. Let's pick up the D7 Pro first. I just want to point out, even though I've just made it known to you that I'm not a dealer for Lone Rider, I am extremely conscious that this video has to come across as unbiased. Okay, you're probably saying, well, it's not unbiased, is it, Steve? You obviously make profits out of Denali. You're right, but I do have a solution whereby we can still facilitate your orders for Moto Lights, but we won't be supplying you the Moto Lights. You've got to stay tuned. This is my entrepreneurial brain working overtime at night time, staying awake thinking, how can we get around this? Because I have invested in marketing around being a stockist and an installer, a dealer, someone who can provide you dealer warranty around Moto Lights, and that's just been pulled from underneath me until later notice. I promise you this is unbiased. This is coming from a place where I have done a full comparison. I've videoed the lights in daytime situations, nighttime situations, in traffic, out of traffic, and you're going to see all of that in this video. But first of all, we need to understand the technology around all this. I don't know which is the winner. I've got various things written on a card here just under the lens about things that I know I want to talk about with these lights, and I actually haven't added up who's the winner. They're both winners. First thing to point out, both of these lights are premium lights. They're both excellent lights. If you have D7 Pros on your bike and you're thinking, oh, I wish I had the Lone Rider ones, okay, if you've got the budget, go and buy them. Maybe have them on as your bike as well as, or maybe change them over. But before you do that, watch all this video and understand what it is you are getting. All of the Denali pods work on a technology called PWM. PWM stands for pulse width modulation. Now, Denali being Denali, they didn't leave it as PWM. They thought, well, we're going to give it a different name, but essentially it's still PWM. They called it Data Dim 2.0. And the amount of emails we get all the time from people saying, oh, has it got data dim? Has it got data dim? But in my head, I'm thinking, because I understand a bit more about the tech behind these lights, I know it's PWM. And what that means is you have a third wire. You've got your ground wire, you've got your positive wire, and then you have a third wire which controls the intensity of that light source. The best way of explaining it is, have you got a dimmer in your house? And when you take it really, really low down to a low intensity, it starts to buzz a little bit, and then the light on the ceiling starts to flicker a little bit. That's because it hasn't got PWM. You are relying on that dimmer at the switch to control the brightness and dimming it up and down. On these lights, on all the Denali range of lights, they've got that PWM wire in there, where the actual light, the dimming, takes place in the light pod itself, and it's operated via pulse width modulation. If you've got an EasyCan or a CANsmart controller, those of you who are watching this who have no idea what I'm talking about, I'm going to be covering EasyCans, the Moto Can, and the CANsmart later in this video, so please stay tuned. But if you've got an EasyCAN or a CANsmart or a Moto CAN, you will see you have settings for when setting up a PWM. You'll see you've got settings saying 3-wire dimming or 2-wire dimming. So 3-wire dimming is essentially PWM. If you've got a Denali pod with PWM, data dim 2.0, you must activate 3-wire dimming. It will solve all of those flickering problems at low intensity for you. And if your lights are still flickering, you've probably got modulation turned on, so make sure you turn that off as well. I won't go into what modulation is right now. So that is how a Denali pod works. That, for me, makes it a very premium light, and it's how we achieve stable light at low intensities. So then we come on to the Lone Rider Moto lights. It's a fantastic light pod. I can't take anything away from this really. It's really, really good. It doesn't work on PWM. It works on data. When I say data, I'm talking ones and zeros. Think the matrix. So it's got 3 wires. You look at the back of the plug, you've got 3 pins. That is a live, a ground, not a PWM, a data wire. Now this is where it gets confusing because Denali branded their PWM data dim. But it's not true data. And this is where Denali are going to be rolling their eyes back at me right now. And I spoke to them actually in Milan when I was over there for EICMA, and they're like, oh, they're scratching their heads a little bit thinking, yeah, but come on, we didn't know that they were going to bring out pure data and stuff. So it's not actual data. PWM is not data. This is data, all right? It runs on data. It means we can have multiple functions running on one circuit and the data controls everything. It's fantastic. As soon as the founder of Hex, Stefan, told me about the EasyBus technology, that's the data side of things, the EasyBus circuit, I was like, this is a game changer. So we can put multiple things on one circuit. That's incredible, because currently this is a dual beam light. We actually have 2 light sources in here. We can control the middle and we can control the outside separately. On the end of here, we have 2 plugs, because let's say, I think the long one is that does the outside and the short one does the middle one. It doesn't matter for now. But if I don't want to control these as 2 light beams and control them just as 1 light beam, a little Y splitter comes in the box and we plug that onto there, so it turns it into 1 circuit, and we can run this as 1 light pod, 1 beam of light rather than 2 beams of light. Understand? So at the moment with this, it's not data. You can't run this on a data signal. You cannot run this on an EasyBus. Not this D7 Pro anyway. Whether Denali bring one out in the future, I think they will, then we can start talking about that. We'll talk about that in a second when we start talking about CANbus controllers. So with this light here, we would put that on one circuit, that on another circuit. So that's 2 circuits, just 1 light pod. And let's say you want the left one and the right one working as indicators because we've got an amber DRL on here. We want to have an amber DRL that flashes when we indicate. Well, we need 1 circuit for the left, 1 circuit for the right, and then you want another circuit for the full beam on the right light and another circuit for the full beam on the left light. That's 4 circuits, and you get 4 circuits on a CANbus controller. So all your circuits gone. Whereas the motor lights, you can do all of that on 1 circuit because data controls everything. Really clever stuff. You can see why I want to be a dealer for Lone Rider Moto lights. Now, what we advise a lot of our customers to do, going back to a video I did right at the beginning of the year, launching these D7 Pros really, because these are so damn bright, they are incredibly bright, we don't want to use the lights on the bottom and the top as a running light. They're too bright. We use the middle as a running light, whether it's going to be amber or whether we take the amber one off and we put on a clear one, or we put on a selective yellow one. All of these things can be changed on the fly. Obviously not whilst you're riding, you pull over and you snap on the one you want. The whole idea is you would have that across the middle of the pod. You run that as a DRL, you have left light 1 in the programming, and then you have right light 1 for the other one, so that's 2 circuits. But because the top 2 LEDs and the bottom 2 LEDs are only going to be used for full beam, well, there's no point in sticking them on a circuit each. You may as well use one of the surplus Y splitters that come with the actual light pod and join those 2 circuits together in the middle. So you take that one from this one and that one from the other one, and then you've got them going into 1 circuit. So you're only using 3 circuits to run these in a very optimal way. That's how we've been doing it for the last year. They work very well. They are an exceptional light. The Moto light, however, this is just so clever. All on 1 circuit. It has to go on the white circuit of the EasyCAN controller or the Moto CAN, and we can control the outer ring to be either white or amber. Then the bottom 4, so I've got this upside down, so it's that way around. That's actually something to point out, that the bracket on here, you can move it around, so you never have to hang these upside down. You can hang it upside down, but you can rotate the actual mount on the light pod. So the light pod itself always stays this way around, this orientation. You've got a logo at the top, the Motolights logo, to symbolize which is the top and which is the bottom. So this is the correct way around. So what we've got here, the bottom 4, Lone Rider call them the wide beam. I like to refer to them as dipped. So when your bike is just going along the road in dipped, obviously these programmings I'm talking about are all configurable. These settings are all configurable. But ideally, you'd have that down as dipped. Let's say at night time, you'd have that on at 20% or 10% dipped, and it's lighting up the road ahead. When you hit full beam, the top 4 come on, and these get brighter to 100%. If you've got the little spotlight in the middle, I say little, it's really effective, and I'm going to talk about this in a minute. That thing in the middle is incredible. I'm being very conscious not being biased here, but I'm telling you the complete truth here. That, I think, really makes this light that center light, and you'll see that later in the video. So when you hit full beam, you can configure it that they all come on, even including the middle one. But there's also a very cool setting they've got on there called speed blending, where this one in the middle gets brighter depending on how you configure it at certain speeds. Clever technology again, and again, all controlled by data on that one circuit. It's a game changer. It's so good. We can control the outer ring on here to be amber or white, which I mentioned earlier. I suppose one downside to that, which I'm going to cover in a minute, is we can't change that on the fly. We have to pull over, take the seat off the bike, plug in the Moto CAN or the Easy CAN, and tell it to be either a white DRL or an amber DRL. We can turn it on and off, the whole light pod on the fly, but that turns everything off. In a minute, I'm going to go through all of the pros and cons on each light pod one by one. But what is the most wonderful thing about this is that it all functions on one circuit, which means we've got 3 circuits available, 3 circuits left on the Moto CAN or the Easy CAN, which we can run a rear light, we could run a sound bomb horn, we could put heated gear onto it. You know, the choice is endless. Anything you've got that needs 12 volt supply, cameras, whatever it might be, you can use those 3 circuits to do that. With the D7 Pro, we're not moaning because it's more business for us, but we'd end up selling 2 CANsmarts or 2 Easy CANs to power a pair of these, a rear light, a sound bomb, and other bits and pieces. We have found a way, and we do it. We've got it all configured on our website where we can run a pair of these with a sound bomb and a rear light with one Easy CAN controller, but then the sound bomb goes on its own relay. Our website is all configured. If you check out the bundles on our website, it shows you exactly how it does that. It's very important that you take all that on board, that we've got data running the Moto lights, and we've got PWM running the D7 Pros and all the Denali range. I'm very excited about the future for the lighting industry for bikes because data is definitely the way forward. We are also working with another company which I hope, and from what I gather, will be embracing the data side of things. So there's going to be more light pods coming down the line which will be running on the Easy Bus without a doubt. Let's start with the competition, if you like. So the first thing we're going to remark is lumens. This is negligible, really, because it's so many lumens. So the lumens I'm going to quote to you are based on a pair. The D7 Pros, a pair of these on your bike are going to kick out, on full power, are going to kick out 23,800 lumens. Wow, that's intense, that is powerful. The Lone Rider Moto lights kick out 23,200. I'm not going to sit here and say those 600 lumens are crucial. You don't need them, you really don't. And the way that these actually throw light down the road, it's not so much about the power, it's about the lenses, everything. It really throws light down the road. You're not going to notice any difference between the brightness and the difference in lumens between these 2 pods. So that stat is negligible, but at least you now have the numbers. The next thing I want to talk about is the tech. Which one wins on tech? Well, the tech behind this is still phenomenal, but this is cutting edge. Is it better? I think so, but the jury's still out. But I would say it's better. I'm very envious that we're not an official dealer yet for Lone Rider. Definitely, these win on the tech based on everything I've just mentioned with how they work with using data. Daytime visibility. Now this is an interesting one. I'm showing you footage right now of You got Tom and myself, we took the GS out. I've got the D7 Pros on the GS and I've got the Moto lights on the GS Adventure. And I've got some footage of us out in a country lane. It wasn't a super bright day. It was very overcast, lots of cloud around and spitting a little bit. But you can see the DRL on the D7 Pro a lot clearer. It's just without a doubt, it's so much clearer. And the DRL brightness that we set on the D7 Pro is only 10%. So at 10%, if you go any higher, you're going to be blinding oncoming traffic. And I have noticed cars coming the other way, if you go up above 10%, maybe up to 30%, you're going to start getting flashed by other drivers. 100% can only be used for full beam when there's nothing in front of you, because that just wouldn't be fair to other road users. So what I'm finding here is with the Lone Rider Moto lights, they look amazing. That amber ring or the white ring, it looks so good. If you have it on the white ring and then you indicate, they flash amber. All of this is configurable. If you have it on the amber ring and you indicate, they flash amber. But in real usage, they are not bright enough. Now, I posted something, because we were filming yesterday in my front garden, I posted something on Instagram, just a picture. I'm going to show you this picture right now, just to get people's feedback really. And I've got some guy here, and I've already asked him if I could use this information, but he basically saw the picture and he sent me a picture of a sad face with a tear on there. And then he said, D7 Pros are already on my bike and Moto lights are already on the way. So he's already bought his Moto lights from Lone Rider and he's saying it hurts me. And at this point, I'm thinking he's talking about the cost. I messaged him literally just before I started filming. I said, out of curiosity, why have you ordered the Moto lights? Is it to replace the D7 Pros or is it to fit to the bike as well? He said, actually, I was planning to use them instead of the D7 Pros due to freeing up a circuit. So I get it. So straight away, he knows he's going to run all that functionality on one circuit. And get rid of his D7 Pros. The stylish appearance of the circular DRL daytime running lights, which I agree, I think the whole world agrees that stylish LED, amber LED is very, very cool. And the ability to use the diffuser lower LEDs without a cover, as well as the orange daytime LEDs. However, based on the daytime image that you shared, Steve, I think I'll need to reconsider my decision because safety should come before appearance. I don't want to come across as biased. I'm just reporting what people are saying to me based on posts I've done. I have taken a photograph with my camera. It has not been photoshopped. I took it with my phone. So you can see the DRL on the D7 Pro at 10% and you can see the DRL on the Moto light at 100%. It's not even on 10%, it's 100%. Looks really good. You're coming around the corner, someone's already seen you. Luckily, you've been seen. And someone's having a good look at your bike and they're going to see that beautiful amber ring on your Moto light and they're going to think that looks really cool. But if you're that guy and you're in your car and you've just had a blazing argument with your wife and you're on your way to work and you're trying to get to work on time and all you're thinking about is the argument you've had with your wife and your mind is elsewhere, you are full of distractions and you're not looking out for bikers. So us bikers, we need to be seen. On this one, on this test here, the D7 Pro, it wins hands down on daytime visibility. Style, I get it. I think the style's still great on the D7 Pro, but I think the styling on the Moto lights, yeah, they've done a great job there, but it's not as bright as it needs to be, in my opinion, for daytime visibility. I'm going to show you quite a bit of footage here because I decided to do the test on a country lane but also on a very busy roundabout just before rush hour, so there's quite a lot of traffic on the road just at a roundabout near me. So you can see the bike coming round the corner, see if you can spot them. You'll find that you always spot the D7 Pros coming around the corner, but when the GSA comes around the corner with the Moto lights with just the DRL on, sometimes it's hard to spot. It is hard to spot. You have to be honest. And I've changed nothing in the settings or in the camera settings. I have not tried to fix this whatsoever. I please hope you believe me on this one. Okay, so nighttime performance. If you've been following my channel for years, you'll have seen me do loads of nighttime tests between all sorts of lights. So I took the two bikes around to the front. I posted pictures on my Instagram to say this is what we're doing. I think it's a really good idea that I do that because people then ping me saying, oh, I don't think it's very fair because you've got the bikes, the lights are mounted at different levels on the bikes and someone's going to say, well, the Moto lights weren't high enough. So I stuck the GSA with the Moto lights on an elevated area in front of my house. So it's actually above the D7 Pros, giving it a better advantage. But I've got footage of both. The dipped, the wide beam set to, it was 10%. So on the settings for the Moto Can and the Easy Can, when you are running the Moto lights, it's not the same as the Denalis where you go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100%. It is 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10. And then after that, it goes to 25, 50, I think 75 and 100. And you see it get significantly brighter when it gets to the 25. Now, you can configure the brightness on the Moto lights with the wheel as well. But obviously, when you get to 10, you're not on 10%. You're on, when you get to like click 10, you're not on 10%. You're way beyond that, because you've got roll 1 is 1, roll 2 is 2, the third roll is now 3, the fourth roll is 5, the fifth roll is 7, and the sixth roll is 8. Yeah, see what I'm saying? So it's quite hard to know where you are on the roller when you're on the fly. So you have to remember how they jump up in percentages. That's not a problem. That's not a problem at all. But I had it at 10%, which I felt was, if I went to the next level, which is 25%, that's too bright as you are. So I've set the lights up based exactly how Alex at Lone Rider, love Alex's work. Alex, you're a cool dude. Saw you at Garmisch, cool chap. But I've set the lights up exactly how Alex from Lone Rider, it tells us how to set the lights up, getting the spot beam exactly where it needs to be down the distance. When I run those wide beam dipped, when I run that at 10%, that's perfect. If I go to 25%, it's too bright. You're going to get oncoming traffic flashing you. So at 10%, it's a good light. It's shining up the road in front of us. It's great. You're not going to get cars flashing you. I wouldn't have thought. I didn't go out and actually do a road test like that, but it's good. And it does throw light down the road sufficiently. Plus, you've obviously got the factory lights on your bike as well, doing that for you. The D7 Pro, I personally found, was a little bit brighter at 10% at throwing the light down the road. Now, in the test, I've taken the amber lens off and I've clicked on the clear lens. So we are seeing what light throw we're getting with the clear lens at 10%. When we go to 100%, we're getting all the lumens coming on at 100% white light. All right. For me personally, I think the performance of both lights, again, it's negligible, but Lone Rider have got that spot beam in the middle, and I've got footage of me riding the bike down my garden and flicking it on, and I must admit, I was like, oh wow, that's cool. And it's like a beautifully concentrated beam of light. It's like a spotlight on a stage. It like just shines right up. Now, for the test that I've done here, I didn't have speed blending on because I wasn't going for a ride down the road. I wanted you to see it at slow speeds. So there's a thing you can toggle in the settings to say combine narrow and wide beam together. So when you go full beam, all the lights come on. To be fair, that's probably the setting that I would have it on, although speed blending does seem pretty cool, depending on what sort of riding I'm doing. But you can toggle that in the settings as you please. Cool tech, not putting this down one bit, okay? Not putting it down at all. I like it. There's a part of me which thinks to myself, was that focused staged spotlight, was that a distraction? I don't know. Because you're looking just at that, and maybe I'm ignoring some of the stuff in my peripheral vision. The D7 Pro and the Moto lights, the wide spread of light picks up things in your peripheral vision. It's just like one big spread of light on full beam. So you're seeing everything, one big flood. So the Moto lights is like one big flood, but then there's a brighter spot beam in the middle, which can distract you from other things. I don't know if that's a negative. I'm just putting it out there. It's what I've noticed. It's not a negative at all. I actually really like it. All right. So Moto lights win hands down, I think, on nighttime performance. Sorry, Denali, but they do. I like it. I really do. Right. Next. I'm just sat here editing the video here at 2 in the morning. Trying to get this done. Now I'm actually looking at the footage in post edit. I've got to disagree with that comment, I'm afraid. You can quite clearly see that the D7 is actually a lot more effective at night time. So I have to take that back. I think I was just taken back by the Moto lights because it is more noticeable, that center light in the middle, and it is quite fun to experience that. But I am getting much better light. I'm filming that on the Insta360 on my chin, by the way. I'm getting much better light from the D7 Pro. It's actually noticeable on camera. So D7 Pro wins that test. Right, the next thing I want to talk about is function. So when I say function, as we can see, the Moto light, let's hold the Moto light up. The Moto light has loads of functions and everything is controllable on the factory buttons on your motorcycle, which is very cool. Same as with the D7 Pro. We don't have as many functions in terms of a ring LED, white to amber, a wide beam down here, full beam, and a spot. Like, how many is that? 1, ring being 1, 2, the wide, 3, the full beam, 4, the spot. It's just so many functions. It is very feature rich. I do like it. But what I've put here on my notes here in brackets is future proof. Now, what I mean by future proof is this. This will only work with an EasyCAN controller or a Moto CAN. This will work on anything. Anything. All right? So if you haven't got an EasyCAN, you've got a motorbike or even a motorbike that takes an EasyCAN, but you don't want an EasyCAN. With a will and a way, you can still get this working on your motorcycle. You have a 12-volt supply. You've got pigtails that come in the package. You can power this up using a 12-volt supply and get this working on your bike. Denali have the dial dim. So if you've got a bike which isn't compatible with any EasyCAN or CANsmart controller, you can get this working using a dial dim. Going back to some older tech, before they brought out the dial dim, they released the premium wiring harness and the sports wiring harness. We don't do the sports one, we only do the premium, because the premium wiring harness can be upgraded to toggle high beam and low beam. You can get these working on a premium wiring harness. Not using the dual beam, to be fair, but you can get these working on anything that's got a 12-volt battery, okay? Future-proofed, it'll work on anything. There we go, change your bike, it'll work, yeah? So going back to the Moto light, this will only work with a Moto CAN or an EasyCAN. Now, it won't work with a CANsmart. So let's have a little update, backstory, educational lesson on CANbus controllers. So the CANbus, if you didn't know, it's the network on your bike which controls all of the electronics on your motorcycle. Majority of bikes, pardoning this Tenere next to me, because the indicators on this bike aren't on the CANbus, ignore that bit, but majority of bikes, everything is on the CANbus. The horn, the indicators, the lights, the rear lights, everything. As soon as you press something or do something on your bike, the CANbus network is throwing that message round your bike in ones and zeros, if you like, saying what it's doing. So when we plug in an EasyCAN controller into our bike, it's listening. It's always listening. It knows you've just put the headlights on. So if you've got a pair of these on your bike, that's how it controls it. It's not tapped into the full beam wire. It's not tapped into your headlights. It's tapped into the EasyCAN controller, which is tapped into the CANbus network on your bike. You're keeping up? Right, so Hex, fantastic company. I've been working with them for years now. Hex designed the EasyCAN. The founder of Hex, I'm kissing ass now, but Stefan, pretty clever guy. He invented the EasyCAN. You can see I'm gleaming here because I'm proud of him. So I am. He's such a clever bloke. But he invented the EasyCAN, and it was so damn good, Denali said, we want that powering our Denali lights. But Denali, being a big company that they are, they said, well, we don't want to be selling the EasyCAN. We want to be selling what we want to call the CANsmart. Can you make me a white label version of your EasyCAN? You know, if we put a significant order in, you know, will you do that? So Hex obviously turned around, this is years ago, and said, sure, we're going to make you an EasyCAN controller and we're going to label it the CANsmart. Well, Denali labelled it the CANsmart, and they've got all their own instructions, they've got all their own packaging and everything, and it is a Denali CANsmart. But that's made and powered by Hex, who make the EasyCAN. So the EasyCAN controller is the original CANbus controller. That CANbus controller, I would like to say, my argument is future-proofed. That will work on the Moto lights. It will work on any light. It has to, as far as I'm concerned, it has to. Lone Rider come along and they said, they obviously started having a conversation with Hex, and they said, right, we want to make these lights, but we want to control them using your EasyCAN, but we don't want to call it an EasyCAN. Same as what Denali did. We want to call it the Moto CAN, powered by Hex. So basically the same thing. But cutting edge software is out now called the EasyBus, where we can run this on one circuit. So I think just all the stars and the moons aligned at the same time, And Lone Rider got in at the right time at a point when Stefan was creating this cutting edge EasyBus technology on his EasyCan. So it was just perfect timing. It really was perfect timing. But Denali made the decision, this might change, so I'm saying this as of today's date, December the 18th, 2024, Denali might change their mind, okay, but based on what I'm going to say. Denali said, we do not want our CANsmart controller controlling these.
What I should have said here is that Denali didn't want their CANsmart operating anything other than their own lights. I think that's more to the point. It's not specifically towards Lone Rider motor lights. Denali don't really want their CANsmarts running other light pods. Just like the dial dim won't run any other light pod unless it's a Denali pod. Okay?
So if you've been following all the Lone Rider videos that Andy's been putting together, thank you Andy, you'll know that the CANsmart controller will not work these. So all of those very unhappy customers who have been investing their hard-earned money in CANsmart controllers, they will not operate a pair of these. So you must be very upset by that. So we have to ask the question about future-proofing. What is coming out in the future? I can't discuss everything with you, but I know there are future lights coming out by other manufacturers. They are coming. I don't know how they're going to be operating, but those manufacturers, they might make the same decision and say, we don't want competitors' CANbus controllers that are made by Hex. We don't want them powering our products. Lone Rider might turn around and say, hang on a second, we don't want our Moto Can to power these new lights that are coming out in 2026. So bear that in mind, because you might end up buying a Moto Can to run these, but you might end up changing these in 2 years' time, but your Moto Can won't run the new satellites that you buy from somewhere else. So bear that in mind as well. The Hex EasyCan will do everything. It will power the Lone Rider lights, it will power the lot. At this point in time, my recommendation is buy the lights, but buy the EasyCan from me. Yeah, I've said it straight out. That's why I'm making this video, because we've invested time and money into making all of the marketing and all of the artwork around our bundles for every bike. We have a Moto Light bundles on the website right now, which you can purchase, but it will say on there no Moto Lights. But we have prepared it in a way that if we end up sourcing Moto Lights, because I am speaking with a couple of other dealers for Lone Rider, that I might be able to source Moto Lights still at cost price. And then we'll be able to fulfill them that way. But that is not what I want. I hopefully want Lone Rider to turn around and say, okay, Steve, I can see what you're doing a good job. We want to now supply you with our Moto Lights. But it's not happening right now, and I can't hang around waiting for next Christmas, hence why I'm making this video. We have the Moto Light bundles on our website, but it will say on there, this listing does not include Moto Lights, but you have everything else on there, which is including the EasyCan, which is a future-proof controller to run your Moto Lights and any other lights, and all of the fixing hardware supplied by Denali or SW Motec. Depending on what bike you have, we have multiple options of mounts for various bikes. So scour our website, have a good look at it, and find what you're looking for. If you can't find what you're looking for, please just ping us an email and we will do our best to source it for you, or show you where it is on the website so you can complete that purchase. So that is like the only way how I can get around everything at the moment whilst we cannot supply you with Moto Lights. Getting back on track, we've got two more things to talk about in comparing the D7 Pro to the Moto Lights. And the next thing is price. The Moto Lights are cheaper than the D7 Pros. The price you can buy it right now is £609. I'm quoting you UK prices including UK VAT and tax. So if you are watching this video from outside the UK, if we were selling Moto Lights to you right now, we would take 20% off, but don't forget, you must expect to pay duties, custom duties in your country when it comes into your country. So it'd be £609, remove the tax from that at 20%, and then whatever the tax and duties are coming into your country, you would then be liable or eligible to be paying that. So 609 versus 760, that's what we sell a pair of D7 Pros at as of today's date. That £760, by the way, is already 5% under MRSP. If you were going to a Denali retailer and buying these in the UK at MRSP, you'll be paying £800 for a pair of D7 Pros. Right, so the Moto Lights win on the price side of things. It's just come to me, which I didn't cover. Lone Rider have made an announcement that they will eventually be offering all Moto cans for all of the bikes which Hex offer easy cans for, but currently right now they're not. I don't know whether they're going to be offering them all, because there are some easy cans that aren't as popular as others. So like the R1300GS is a very, very popular easy can, so it's a no-brainer for Lone Rider to offer you the Moto can. The R1200 easy can, which is compatible with the R1250, all the LC models from 2013, 2014 GSs. I know they do the Moto can for that, but I don't think they do the Moto can for, let's say, the new Aprilia Touareg, which is called the Arno by Hex Easy Can. So we have a much wider range of easy cans available to run your moto lights. So if you've got a Ducati Multistrada, I'm saying this, I don't even know if Lone Rider are offering the Ducati Multistrada as an option at the moment for the EasyCam, because if you haven't got that, you need to get the EasyCam to run it, because the moto lights will not work on any bike without an EasyCam or a Motocan. It just won't work. I didn't actually mention that earlier on. Whereas the D7 Pros will work on anything, regardless whether you have an EasyCam, a CANsmart, a Motocan. No, it won't work on a Motocan. No, I think they'll work on the Motocan, but you can't access EasyBus technology, I think. Well, I don't know. I'm supposed to know this stuff. Stefan, help me out. Put a comment down below. I'll get the answer to that and put a comment down below, okay? So scroll down, you should hopefully see a response to that. So we have all of the easy cans here, which are made available to us because we're not just a dealer, we're a distributor for Hex. So we have all the easy cans here all the time, plenty in stock all the time. And they will run a pair of motor lights on any bike. But just remember, if you've got something like a Tenere or a Norden 901 or a KTM 790 or a KTM 890, those bad boys haven't got indicators on the CANbus, which means you can't have indicator functions. You can have the amber DRL, but you can't request it to flash when you hit the indicators on those specific bikes. I think there's another one out there as well, I can't think which one it is. It does say on the description if it supports that or not. If you don't know, just ping an email over and we will tell you. And then just to finish up on, after sales and warranty. So this is a key thing to think about here. Lone Rider are a great company. You know, they've been around for years now, and they've made some fantastic luggage. They've made some fantastic parts, like even the Lone Rider, the headlight guard. Before I bought the ammo guard to the marketplace, I used to have their motor guard on my bike, and I know they still make it and sell it today. The owner of Lone Rider agreed to supply me, but I think it's because I was doing such small volumes. I was like buying 3s and 4s or 5s of them. This is in the early days, but because we're putting orders for hundreds of them now, as in hundreds of motor lights, they're not interested in supplying me. So make up your mind why they might be like this. I don't know, but it is very confusing. So the after sales side of things, leave a comment down below if you've had experiences with Lone Rider. I only want to know if you've had an experience with Lone Rider where you've bought something and something's not right and how they dealt with you. All right, I don't care if you bought something and it's perfect and you've never had to like raise an issue with them. It's all about the after sales service. When something goes wrong, how are they managing that? Because they're managing it from one place. They don't have dealers, as they're saying. They're opening up and expanding an installer network, of which they are calling them dealers, but it's a great area for me. I don't classify it as an official dealer, as like the dealer support. The dealer support that I get from my distributor who supply me with Denali is amazing. I am in a position where when we get a problem and a customer says, this isn't working, or this is corroded, it's inside my 5-year warranty. That's something else to mention, warranty. So you get a 5-year warranty on Denali. I don't know, I should have done my research before filming. I think it's 2-year warranty on the Lone Rider lights. Could be a year, but I think it's 2 years. But within my 5-year warranty, I don't even bother my supplier, my distributor or Denali. I don't bother with them with the details around the return or the issue. We confidently speak with the customer and identify the issue. We then send out the replacement and arrange the return. We have a little box of returns which accrue over, let's say, 4 to 6 weeks. And every 4 to 6 weeks or 2 or 3 months, we send that box back to our distributor, who then raises a credit on our account. Perfect. No noise. I'm not having to like speak to my supplier and say, can you sort this issue out for me? There's no middleman really. We are the middleman, but we are dealing with you under your dealer warranty you get from us. because we give you that 5-year warranty from us ourselves. We get the 5-year support from the distributor. So with Lone Rider, they are managing it all themselves from one point in the world, wherever that might be. And wherever you are in the world, it could be Australia, could be Europe, America, you're having to deal with what with that one point and manage that return. So it'd be quite interesting. Put comments down below what your experience is where you've had problems, because no product's perfect. There's always teething problems with some products, but you've had an experience where you've had to send something back. I'm hoping you're going to tell me it's bloody fantastic. It is great, but I think others might be interested to read those comments. What other people's experiences are around any sort of returns processes. So for me, I just want to improve that network for them. I know that we offer the best customer service we can. Probably one or two of you out there in the world screaming at your screen saying, no, Steve, you did not look after me. Hey, we can't please everybody, but we do our best. We try and improve that network and improve that after-sales service so our suppliers, the manufacturers, can be proud to call us one of their dealers because we are flying their flag for them in our corner of the world. That's all I'm trying to do. But until next time, stay safe behind bars, not these bars, these bars. And I'll see you in the next video.